Welcome back to the continuing adventures of the monad. We start this presentation, as promised, by looking at why the rainbow bridge goes by that name. The most obvious answer is that the bridge is composed of all 7 rays, and collectively they represent the rainbow. There, that was easy. Do you want to know more? Of course you do. From the perspective of the disciple, the bridge that is built between the persona and the spiritual triad is composed of 7 strands of energy. This can also be thought of as 7 streams of force. The process of building the rainbow bridge may happen at the end of the monad's passage through the 4th kingdom of nature, but during that time, its persona has resonated with all 7 rays. This is how the monad rounds out its experiences in the 4th kingdom of matter. The ray color of the soul remains the same between these incarnations, and it is the soul ray that predominates. So, although the bridge is built from both ends, and the persona's contribution has influences from all 7 colors, it is the predominant color of the soul ray that will always shine through. When you come to the rainbow bridge built by the whole of humanity, it is composed of a multiplicity of strands representing each disciple. It therefore is formed of 7 strands or streams of energy coming from the 7 causal groups, one for each ray type. Each disciple contributes their light to the overall light. Their dominant strand of light fuses into one whole, and their lesser strands are lost from sight in the radiant light of the Sevenfold Bridge, which humanity as a whole will eventually complete. As you can imagine, as you look around today, this is going to take a very long time to come to pass. Let's be positive. We will eventually get there. We will have a completed bridge. This will happen by the end of this world's cycle. Not this globe, but the cycle. You did not think this was going to be that quick. Just as you have one predominant ray color in your own bridge, what do you think will be the predominant color for the collective bridge of humanity? Any guesses? It is the 2nd ray. This is the 2nd solar system of our solar logos. Its predominant ray is the 2nd ray. We are the life stream that focuses on mastering consciousness, which is powered through the 2nd ray. There is, however, also a subsidiary ray involved. What do you think that is? It is the 4th ray. This is our collective secondary ray. The 4th ray can be symbolically thought of as the main cable for humanity. Why? Because it is the dominant note of the 4th creative hierarchy. Remember, we are passing through the 4th kingdom of nature. Now, we are ready to start to look at the 7 ray methods one by one. A point of order. When considering the 7 rays and the words of power that accompany them, it has to be borne in mind that we are dealing entirely with the will aspect. Why is this a big deal? As the disciple begins to up its game, it moves from contacting the knowledge petal to the unity or love petals, and then finally gets to the sacrifice or will petals. So, contacting the will petal involves a much higher degree of alignment than has hitherto been expressed by the wanderer along the path. The disciple has to learn how to evoke a divine aspect of itself that has been relatively quiescent up until now. Where the contact has been made is with the will petal. Here the disciple is trying to get to the 3rd triad. Whatever the disciple can glean from the will petal, which is a shadow of the spirit triad, is distorted by the mental plane, by the mind's nature. So, to get this far along the path, it presupposes that there is a high stage of spiritual unfoldment on the part of the builder of the Antahkarana. A connection is beginning to form between the mind, 47.4, the Will Petal, 47.1, and what is known as the Atmik Principle, 45.1. This may be the faintest of connections, but it is present. From an esoteric point of view, it is a tangible fact, and it leads to the following set of contacts. Once this contact has been made, an entire unit of spiritual work is complete. It has brought the human monad, dwelling on the physical plane 49, into complete alignment. This does not happen fully at the third, as you may think, but at the fourth initiation, I4. This initiation, as we have already discussed, is known as the Great Renunciation. It is at this time that the will aspect, begins the process of dominating the second, consciousness, and third, matter aspect. It is at this time that what we have come to know as our soul life begins to fade away and the causal body disappears. This is why I wince when people describe their true eternal essence as their soul. Really? The soul, the causal envelope, has been a repository for the sum total of our memories, qualities, and acquirements. At the dissolution of the causal envelope, their attributes are absorbed by the monad on the 43rd plane of matter. The statement, I and the Father are one, becomes literally true. At this time, the emotional body is dissolved, occurring at the same time as the renunciation occurs. The physical body, which is the automatic agent of the etheric body, is no longer needed. It, however, persists and can be activated by the monad as and when it needs to. If you now survey things from a form aspect, you have the monad, the sphere of the third, the spiritual triad, and the etheric body upon the physical plane. These bodies may seem formless to us, but they all dwell on the cosmic physical plane and are very material on their own subplanes. The center of consciousness is now the will nature. Prior to this, the focus was on love/wisdom or unity nature in brackets 46. The matter nature represented by activity and unity nature are still very much present, but the focus of the initiate's attention is on the will aspect of the divinity. As an aside, I was informed by an esoteric source that after the last appearance of the world teacher, Christ Maitreya, around 150 BCE, once the physical vehicle of Jeshu was stoned to death, the world teacher chose to dwell on the etheric plane surrounding the planet. I wondered why and how this was occurring. You can now see from what has been described how it is possible. When you are fully active on the third triad, as the Bodhisattva is, he still has a perfectly functioning etheric envelope. So if he so chooses, he can utilize this body to achieve objectives that would not be possible from the higher planes of matter. It is a mistake to assume that these august beings can just snap their fingers and appear here, there, and everywhere. Our universe functions under strict sets of rules, and all must abide by them or suffer the consequences. We have been told that an ancient book from the Master's archives has said that the preservation of values is the task of the initiate of the first ray. The attainment of positivity is the goal of the initiate of the second ray. He who works upon the third ray must reach the path from here to there. The initiate of the fourth ray arrives at the will aspect when conflict steps into its rightful place and causes no undue concern. These four attainments mark the goal for men and sway them all upon the lower point of consciousness. The ray of vision and application indicates the way directly, evokes the will to follow, and wields the love of God, the love of men, and all that breathe into the purpose underlying all, and towards that purpose and its earthly consummation, the seventh ray gives all it has. These archives are all well and good, but give me plain and simple Hylozoics any day. Humanity is a part of a collaborative process which fits into a much grander scheme of deity, and whatever their planned interactions are. Humanity is in a circle, encompassed by the greater circle of the hierarchy. Humanity slowly becomes conscious of a connection with something greater and uses the potencies of both centers to fuse the two circles. The medium of the fusion is the construction of the Antahkarana. Once the disciple approaches that first point of consciousness and the Antahkarana is firmly anchored, even just tenuously, it becomes aware of an even greater circle that encloses these two. Guess what that circle represents? Shambhala, which is the secret place where the will of God is formulated, ranging from the imminent present to the long-range future. Holding this vision in our minds and the preamble just given, let us now ascertain the 7 techniques to be employed at the third, the projection stage of the building process of the Antahkarana. See you in the next presentation. Thank you.